the hybrid war games, the brand new hybrid competition that has been taking over the hybrid community and the internet. The goal of this competition? To not just create a monster of a hybrid, but also to create one that will function as a natural animal and will serve its purpose in the ecosystem. Now, with Scourge's failure to get to the top 16 of the hybrid horrors, I see this as a chance for redemption, and I vow to get to the top 16 this time. So, without further ado, time to create the Marshes matriarch. So, starting off with this hybrid, I've chosen Spinosaurus aegypticus as the base, which, first of all, is my favorite dinosaur, so it just gets extra points. But Spinosaurus provides a very good build to survive in the marshlands, which is where this hybrid will live on site Blackthorn. Now, the Spinosaurus is very good for the marshlands because it has a paddle-like tail, which will allow her to easily swim through the the riverways of the marshlands. But her arms are very powerful, so we don't need to worry about conflicting instincts with using the arms for combat. And Spinosaurus is just a pretty good base overall. So, starting off with this hybrid's weaponry, we are starting off with the Dinochirus. Now, what will this hybrid provide with the genome? Now, this dinosaur will provide the arms of this hybrid, which may come as a surprise, but Dinochirus was most likely piscivorous, because scientists found fish scales within the contents of their stomach. So this dinosaur was likely piscivorous, and those arms are a lot longer and more powerful than the Spinosaurus arms. So, and they were also likely a lot more powerful. So Dinochirus will provide the arms for this hybrid creation. Now, to enhance the strength of the arms, I've chosen the Kodiak bear, which will provide this hybrid with enhanced arm muscles. Now, I am not taking Kodiak bear arm muscles. Instead, I'm using Kodiak bear to enlarge the arm muscles of the Dinochirus. So basically beefing up the arm muscles from the Dinochirus, which will allow the arms to be a lot more powerful, which will not only allow her to deal more damage to rival hybrids, but it will also serve as a more effective way of catching fish. So, that is what the Kodiak bear will provide for this hybrid. Now, the next weapon will come from the pileated woodpecker. Now, what does this woodpecker provide for us? Well, one, on the defensive side, it will reinforce the skull with extra shock absorption, which allows this hybrid to tank more attacks to the head, which will be quite useful. But moreover, I will be taking their harpoon-like tongue, which will serve as an extra weapon, and it will be further enhanced by a later contributor down the line. Now, this harpoon-like tongue will allow her to more efficiently catch fish, but also will serve as an extra weapon. And you will see how I will enhance the tongue of this hybrid with the next contributor, which will be the tiger shark, which I will admit is an odd pick for a land hybrid, but I can assure you it might just be the MVP of this hybrid, because first of all, it will greatly enhance the immune system, allowing her to resist many types of diseases and venoms, so she won't have to worry about that. Next, the tiger shark will also add throat and mouth padding, because I'm pretty confident that there's going to be quite a few quilled submissions to this competition. So by applying tiger shark, this will allow her to bite into the quills and will allow her to ignore them, which will be quite a useful trait if she wants to dominate the marshlands. Tiger shark will also reinforce the teeth with fluorapatite. And I will be taking that fluorapatite and implementing it into the barbs of the woodpecker tongue, but only a very small layer, which will allow this hybrid to more easily pierce thicker hide with its tongue. It will also be providing the tooth shape in the back of the jaw, which may seem confusing, but let me explain. So in the front of the jaw, there will be Spinosaurus conical teeth for gripping onto other hybrids and slippery fish. But in the back of the jaws, there will be tiger shark-shaped teeth, which will allow this hybrid to easily slice through thicker hide, as well as more easily slicing through fish. And now, these teeth are renowned for being able to slice through sea turtle shells. So by implementing that into our hybrid, it'll allow her to more easily bite through thicker hides. Now, she will not have the strongest bite force, but just enough in order to be able to pierce thicker hide. And this biting style actually works in synergy with a gripping and slicing method. And with a later contributor down the line, she will violently shake her head in order to give the teeth more slicing power. And thanks to the shock absorption of the pileated woodpecker, she won't have to worry about fracturing her skull or neck. So, that is a tiger shark. And now onto the contributor that will enhance the armor as well as the bite methodology, which is the Cuban crocodile. A very underrated crocodilian species, but also a top 5, at least for me, in terms of favorite crocodilians. So, the Cuban crocodile, first and foremost, will provide the armor, because it doesn't matter how good your weapons are if you can't live long enough to use them. So, Cuban crocodile will allow this hybrid to tank more blows, which will be quite useful, as well as providing vascular constriction to allow her to cut off blood flow to a wound, preventing her from bleeding to death. Cuban crocodile will also further bolster the immune system, just in case, as well as providing the shaking head method, which will allow the tiger shark teeth to get to work, slicing through thick hides with ease. The Cuban crocodile will also provide something else, and it will fix the greatest weakness that all Spinosaurid hybrids have, and that is speed and agility. So, Spinosaurus was not the fastest, and it was not the most agile theropod. So, by using Cuban crocodile to modify the hip anatomy and to lessen the webbing in the feet, this will allow her to get up to a decently good running speed. Now, she will not be the fastest thing on this island, but now at least she can retreat from a fight if the odds aren't in her favor. Cuban crocodile will also provide the method of reproduction and the way that they will compete over mates. But more on that in the ecology section of this video. Now, while Cuban crocodile armor is very good, it does not cover all sides of the body, and we can fix this problem with African hippo, which will provide the thickened hide around the underbelly and the neck, the most vulnerable areas of this hybrid. And the hippo hide around those areas could reach up to 2 centimeters, which, while is definitely not the thickest part of the hippo hide, at least now we have good armor on all sides, which will be very useful. The African hippo will also further densen the bones, not to the extent of the African hippo, but it will further densen them to allow her to more easily walk on the riverbed while still being able to resurface. African hippo will also provide the so-called blood sweat, which is not blood and it is not sweat. Instead, it is a special mucus secreted from special glands within the African hippo's hide. Now, what this will do is that special proteins have been found within the African hippo slime that prevent infections from getting into the hybrid, from getting into wounds. So you see, in the marshlands, I'm pretty sure that there's going to be an infection or two in the water, and if this hybrid manages to get away from a very powerful hybrid and goes into the water, she runs the risk of getting an infection. However, African hippo blood sweat will fix this problem, allowing her to remain in peak efficiency 24/7. African hippo will also provide foot padding. And not only that, but this is a shared trait between Spinosaurus and African hippo, where they have four-toed feet. And by implementing foot padding into this will allow her to walk on the muck without the worry of sinking into the muck, basically acting as biological snowshoes, which will be very useful for this hybrid because many large hybrids that will be submitted to the marshlands will most likely sink into the muck. This hybrid will not have that problem. So that is the African hippo. And along with the tiger shark, African hippo might be one of the most useful contributors in this hybrid. Now, to enhance stamina as well as the armor, I've chosen one of my favorite turtles, the painted turtle, which will provide this hybrid with lactic acid storage / buffering, which will greatly increase the stamina of this hybrid, allowing her to go on in a fight without her muscles getting tired. Painted turtle will also provide the scales on the front limbs, so arms, and also on the back limbs. Now, this may seem confusing, but while these scales are soft to the touch, they are actually they add protection against sharp rocks and the mangroves, which painted turtles' scales in real life allow them to swim through sharp rocks without worry of them cutting their limbs. By applying the scales to the front limbs and the back limbs of this hybrid, this will allow her to swim through sharp rocks without worry of them cutting her limbs, as well as providing extra shock absorption, because some hybrids, I bet, are going to target the arms, and with those scales providing extra shock absorption, they will prevent the hybrid from taking too much damage on the limbs, which will be quite useful. But now, to further enhance her diving capabilities, we have the elephant seal. Now, what does this chonker provide with the hybrid? Well, it will it will provide oxygen-rich blood cells, as well as an enhanced hemoglobin, which will allow her to stay underwater for up to 2 hours at a time, combined with the lactic acid storage buffering. This will allow her to stay underwater for quite some time, allowing her to more efficiently drown other hybrids, as well as being able to ambush from the water without needing to resurface all too often. So the elephant seal is a very useful contributor. Now, time to fix one of the main issues with Spinosaurid hybrids, and that is the fact that their sail can get torn or ripped in combat, as well as it just lessens speed and agility. And we can fix this problem by implementing sailfish DNA, which will allow this hybrid to have a collapsible sail, making her a sail capable of folding up and tucking against her spinal cord. And this will allow her sail to not get ripped or torn when in combat or walking through the mangroves. But when underwater, by flaring the sail open, it will basically act as a rudder, which will allow this hybrid to more efficiently swim without worry of tearing her sail. However, what if I told you that I could turn this into a weapon? Would you believe me? Well, you're gonna have to, because I can, with the pinfish, which is a little bit of an unorthodox contributor, but hear me out. Pinfish will modify the sail to be spiny. Yeah, I'm not kidding. However, this will not be the most used weapon of this hybrid. It probably will be the least used weapon on this hybrid, because there are many things that can go wrong with this attack, and it is only going to be used in life or death situations. So, let me give you an example of when it would be used. She is pinned down by a rival hybrid and is about to get killed. She will flare open her sail, and the modified pinfish spines will dig into opposing hybrids' hide, and even if they don't pierce all the way, the sheer pointiness of them will force them to get off of her, which will, one, allow her to retreat, or to deal more damage. So, pinfish may not be the most useful contributor here, but at least now our sail is a weapon. Now, we have all of this weaponry, and yet we don't have the senses to detect other rival hybrids. We can enhance our senses by using the osprey, which will allow this hybrid to have the vision of the osprey, which osprey eyes have a special ability to see past the refraction of water, so which will make her even better at hunting fish, but it will also allow her to detect rival hybrids underneath the surface of the water. But moreover, the osprey will provide the spicules, which I am probably butchering that name, but you guys can let me know in the comments if I'm saying it correctly or not. But the spicules are basically like tiny ridges in the feet of the osprey, which will enhance the grip strength of the osprey. And by applying this to the hybrid, our grip strength will be quite good. However, they will not be implemented into the back feet. Instead, they will be implemented into the front limbs, into the arms of this hybrid, but on the hands. Or technically hands, but whatever. And they will not be as numerous as they are on the osprey to prevent self-injury. But now, this hybrid will have a vice-like grip, not only on slippery fish, but on rival hybrids, which is a very useful trait. Now, we have all these weapons, and yet we have no mind to use them effectively. So, time to fix this problem. Invincible Fireboy, rejoice, because the animal I've chosen for this is none other than the Troodon, which will greatly enhance the intelligence of this hybrid. But the Troodon will not be the only thing providing intelligence. We have one of the most underrated monitor lizards of the world. We have the lace monitor. I bet y'all thought I was going to say Komodo dragon, but no, it's a lace monitor. But anyways, lace monitor will provide the enhanced intelligence, specifically enhancing spatial memory, which will allow her to basically have a built-in map and remember areas of the marshlands, but it will also help her remember battle tactics and the most effective ways to take out hybrids. And the most effective way, her method of fighting, will be to stab out the eyes of her opponent with the pileated woodpecker tongue, which will also maybe be coated in lace monitor venom. Now, I say maybe because there was a rule in the competition that said no overpowered toxins. But lace monitor venom is very mild, and it's not even that deadly to humans. So, I will let the host of this competition, Cerulean Dragon, decide whether or not lace monitor venom will be allowed. However, I don't think he will allow it because of this wombo combo that would happen if he allows it. And with the lace monitor venom, because it is in the saliva, the pileated woodpecker tongue will be coated in this, turning the tongue into a anticoagulant spear, which will be quite the useful weapon if the host so decides to allow it. And the lace monitor will also further enhance the instincts to use the tail as a weapon. Now, it won't be whip-like, but with the tail muscles inherited from the Cuban crocodile, this will turn the tail at least into a somewhat useful weapon. So that way this hybrid is defended from all sides. Now, that is the genome complete. And now it is time to move on to the metrics. Reaching a length of up to 14 meters, a height of 7 meters at the sail when folded up, right? When folded up. And reaching a weight of up to 10 tons. Now, time to reveal the marshes matriarch. Introducing Harpago Imperatrix Palus. Name meaning the harpooning empress of the marsh. Now, the specimen that you are looking at here is a female and our largest specimen that we have, nicknamed Naga. Now, the reason we are sending a female to this competition instead of a male is because of the osprey, which allows the females to get much larger and will allow just allows the females to grow larger. So, Naga is our largest and most dominant female that we have, and will be the specimen we are sending to participate on site Blackthorn. Now, time to get onto the ecology section of this hybrid. So, this hybrid's main role in the ecosystem is to keep the fish populations in check, preventing an overrun of them. And the way this hybrid will reproduce is the males will become exceedingly aggressive, and they will compete with each other over the rights for breeding territories and mates. A female will lay a clutch of around 30 to 40 eggs. Now, around 10 of the 40 will survive, and around 5 of the 30 will survive. But it all depends on the survivability instincts of the babies. Now, when the eggs are hatching, a female Harpago imperatrix will dig them up. Their mother will dig them up and carry them into the water from her mouth. Will carry them into the water with her mouth. So, and until the eggs hatch, she will fiercely guard them until they are ready to hatch. Now, because the weaker ones will get picked off by predators, only the strongest, the ones with the most survival instincts of Harpago imperatrix, will make it to adulthood, ensuring the survival of the species, because the strongest will survive and make it to adulthood. So, that is Naga. Probably one of my favorite hybrids I've made. Let me know how I did in the comments section. And, like, subscribe, do everything. And also subscribe to Cerulean's channel. He posts good content on hybrids and stuff like that. So, with all of that done, time to release the Marshes matriarch.